Hi, I'm Paul Mulligan, and I had a near-death experience in 1970. I was in the Army at Fort Leonard Wood, and I had meningitis, and I had a 106 temperature. So meningitis, they give you a spinal tap, and when they were starting that spinal tap, I popped out of body and was viewing myself over my body when they were giving me my spinal tap, and I was wondering why I was up there. And my spiritual guide said, well, would you rather be down there? Since I was in advanced stages of meningitis, it would have been very painful to have the spinal tap. And I said, well, no, I'd rather be here. At that point, my spiritual guide said, let's go to the light. And I said, no, I want to stay here for my wife. So I said, once again, do you want to go? I said, no, no. He says, okay, we'll have to go this way. So we went through a void, and at some point I said, where are we going? He says, no, we have to go through here. And it became very unpleasant, and so my spiritual guide said, okay, to get out of here you need to pray. So I had to pray very hard, and then I found myself in the tunnel and approaching the light. And what I saw going up to the light was Mary and Jesus. I was 20 years old at the time. But when I reached the light, it was just, that's what it was light. And I had a life review, and during that life review, I was told that I felt too guilty about some of the things that had happened, because I was carrying around a lot of shame because of my childhood. So I said, well, what had happened? And because I didn't have a memory of what had happened at that point. And the light said, well, you will work your way through that, don't worry. I said, well, why am I guilty? What happened? And the light said, well, you'll work your way through that. And while I was in the light, I was being healed. And then I was in a dark, velvety, purpley light taken there. And because I was in that light, again, I was being healed. And while I was in that light, I was asked, do you have any questions? And of course, I said no, but my first question wasn't answered. So they said, well, you sure you don't have any questions? I said, no, you didn't answer my first question. And so while I was in the dark purpley light, I was shown a soul who had died, so I didn't see a physical form at all. And I was told, I would like you to take the message back to his sister that he is fine. And I said, well, how do I tell? And the light said, well, you'll be able to tell because his name is on the memorial, but his name is not on the memorial. I said, am I going to be going around looking for a sister? He said, no, don't. You won't remember it, but when the time comes, you'll know. I said, okay. I did not. I wanted to return. I was given the choice. I wanted to go back to my wife, and I was told I always have to love her. So I said, well, why would I not love her? He says, well, you'll always have to love her. I wonder if you got a divorce. I said, why would I get a divorce? And I said, well, just can you say that you always love her? I said, yes. So at that point, I went back into my body and was in a coma for 3 days. Subsequent, that was in 1970. Subsequent to that, in 1994, approximately, I was at work where I had visited in Chicago, Illinois, and on the table of one of the people who had trained me before I went into Washington, D.C., was a picture of the Vietnam Memorial. And so I said, oh, the Vietnam Memorial. And the lady said, well, no, not really. This is the Illinois model of the Vietnam Memorial. And my brother is on it, but on the actual, because he was killed in Laos, but on the actual Vietnam Memorial, his name is not on it. And at that point, I said, well, uh-oh. So on the next trip out to Chicago, I talked to this lady who was very spiritual, and her reaction was, I've always wanted to know if he was okay. So I completed my purpose at that point in time. So my message to you is, there is a higher power. The higher power is loving, and death is nothing to be feared.